Have you ever wondered how far someone can go when standing at the edge of the end? When the body no longer responds and hope seems extinguished? That was exactly the point where Ichigo Kurosaki in Bleach found the darkest and most overwhelming force of his journey. His awakening against the battle in Hueco Mundo was already desperate. Orihime, trapped in despair, could only watch as Ichigo was crushed by the evolved form of the Fourth Espada. Ulquiorra was no ordinary enemy. He was the embodiment of coldness, pure indifference. His eyes reflected emptiness, as if life and death were nothing but irrelevant details. To him, Ichigo was nothing more than an insignificant obstacle. And when the fight reached its climax, Ichigo fell. His body, pierced and broken, seemed to have no strength left. It was then that Orihime's scream echoed a desperate plea, the cry of someone who couldn't bear to lose another loved one. And that scream didn't just pierce Ichigo's heart. It awakened something dormant, something no one could have predicted. Ichigo's lifeless body was overtaken by a terrifying transformation. The hollow mask didn't just appear, it expanded until it consumed his entire being. He was no longer the Ichigo we knew. He wasn't human, nor she. He was a wild beast, a force of instinct and destruction, a being so unpredictable that even Ulquiorra faltered before it. With every movement, the ground shattered, the air vibrated, and Orihime's eyes filled with shock and fear, because in that moment, it wasn't just Ichigo fighting for her. It was an entity born from the depths of despair, proof that strength can rise even from death itself. And it's fascinating to think Ulquiorra, who always believed in emptiness, was finally faced with something that defied his logic. Ichigo's transformation wasn't rational, wasn't predictable. It was the embodiment of the will to protect, even when everything seemed lost. But before I go on, let me pause for a second. Have you noticed how the body also begs for relief when it is pushed to its limit? And for that, nothing beats the Thurgan elite. Muscle. It helps ease pain, recover muscles, and release built-up tension after training or even a heavy day. A true ally when life's battles don't give you a break. Back to the scene, Ichigo's awakening was more than just a fight's turning point. It was an emotional shock. Orihime didn't know whether to cry in relief or tremble in fear. Ulquiorra, for the first time, hesitated. That being before him wasn't just an opponent. It was the very negation of everything he believed about life, death, and emptiness. The fight became brutal, almost inhuman. Each of Ichigo's blows echoed like the fury of existence itself. What stood out most was the lack of control. Ichigo wasn't conscious. There was no reasoning, only instinct. He was the embodiment of limitless power, but also soulless. And that's what makes this scene so striking. The thin line between strength and the loss of oneself. Because while Ichigo protected Orihime, he was also drifting away from who he was. The price of power was his own identity. In the end, when the dust settled and Ulquiorra faced his own defeat, there was no hatred, only silence. The indifference that always defined him shattered in the realization that even emptiness could be filled with something incomprehensible. The bond between people. This scene is remembered even today not only for its visual spectacle but for its emotional weight. It shows that sometimes it's at the brink of collapse that true awakening happens. It shows that even the coldest can be touched by the warmth of a feeling that can't be explained, only felt. So I ask you, standing before death, in the moment when everything seems over, what would awaken within you? The beast that destroys or the force that protects?